So let's talk about that tipping point that led you to actually launch Krux as a business.
From my experience working with that drilling company and doing all of the operational analysis, the idea was born. I thought there has to be a better way. I was grabbing data from 4 different platforms, trying to aggregate it together. None of it was standardized. I couldn't do reporting on it. And every tool you use is built for finance, not for operations. So that's where the idea of Krux came from.
And the name, Krux?
It's the crux of the matter. It's all about data.
It's the question of drilling's one of the biggest expenditures for mining companies, right? But yet it seems difficult to control costs. Why is it so big and so hard to control? Maybe give some examples if you're keen to answer that question.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that question. I think people focus too much on costs. I actually don't think it's the costs that are out of control. I think it's the drilling performance and optimization. So biggest thing that mining companies have is they've put a budget forward and they need so many meters. And if they can't get their meters within their budget, then they have not drilled out as much as they need to define the resource or to get to their next level for investment, etc. So they need to get as many meters as possible with the budget that they have. And the only way to do that is to optimize your operations.
Yeah.
You need to have efficient drilling, and the drilling per meter might actually cost you more per meter, but you might actually get your meters, right? So you have to remember, it's not about saving on costs, because if you don't hire the right drill crew or the right rig for the task at hand, you actually could spend more and get less.
Obviously, this is where Krux comes in. Gives you the data that you need to make those clever decisions. Give me an example, one that stands out for you, that one of your customers, where it's made such a big difference.
Yeah.
And it's wowed even you.
Yeah, I think almost any customer can relate to this, is that you know that there is something in your operation that logistically causes you grease. It could be standby for blast. It could be logistics for lunch. There is sometimes when you have crews way out in the field and you got to get the lunch to them, that can take up time. Anything that takes up time that's not productive has an opportunity to be reduced. The thing is that every time you talk to people, they don't actually know how much time is being spent. And so they don't actually see the impact of that lost time. And lost time is lost money or lost productivity. So every time you can look at it and go, wow, we're spending 25% of our day in standby. What if I could do something different to reduce that by another 10%? And we had a company that had, a rig operating in a different area near the blast zone, and it was a rig that was hard to move logistically, and so it kept getting stuck in the blast zone, so it couldn't be working because it was on standby. When we looked at the numbers, it was unreal, and you could see that the one rig had way more standby for blast than the other rig.
Yes.
And it was because the other rig actually moved and got out of the blast area in time. And so by changing the rig, moving that rig outside, moving a different rig in, they increased their drilling performance by over 40%, just by one simple move.
So in a business like this, everybody says, someone can copy what I'm doing, lots of competition, etc. I maintain that out-innovating your competition is probably the only way to really stay ahead. Now, what you innovate on, whether it's customer service, etc., that's up to you as a business, though. Staying ahead, remaining at the cutting edge, providing the best service for your customers moving forward. How do you as a CEO work with that and the innovation side of it?
Yeah, innovation's hard. It's not an easy thing because you have to be thinking ahead. And so competition's great. Actually, competition in the market keeps everyone on their toes and keeps people innovating. But competition only lets you innovate against your competition. What you actually need is a future state vision. And so when I talked about how Krux was built for oil and gas, instrumented drill rigs, live streaming data, Krux's vision is still that. We're only 2 pillars on the way to where we want to be. And so that is my guiding principle. And so there's examples where people will say, well, I need this and you have to do this in the software, but it's short-sighted. You need to build for the future. You can't build for today.